Call halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, as well as honor to the men under the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and those who hope to be of that number. This video is called Revelation 17 Breakdown. Revelation 17 1 through 2. And then came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. One of the seven angels told John to come urgently and be shown the judgment of the great whore, which is USA, that sits upon many people. USA sits upon many people because it has around 800 US military bases throughout the world outside of America. The kings of the earth are your presidents and prime ministers, etc. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with America by getting in bed with America to make their money. The nations and people living on the earth are drunk of that Babylon juice. The Babylon juice is the wicked ways and philosophies of America. Yeah, the many waters are peoples. Revelation 17:15 tells you that. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Revelation 17 verse 3 through 5. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet coloured beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colour, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. The decked out woman wearing red and purple is America. America is beautiful on the outside, but once you step in her, you find out she's filthy. The 7 heads are all Edomites. The 7 heads are Spaniards, British, Greeks, Romans, Germany Major, Germany Minor, and the French. The 10 horns are NATO and the EU. As of now, the 10 horns represent NATO and the EU, because some of the NATO nations are part of the 10 horns. Like some of the NATO nations are part of the EU. The EU, as of now, on the EU website itself, so it's a highly reputable website, I'm using this information, it currently have 27 nations, so there's 27 EU nations. The 10 horns are NATO and the EU. The 10 toes in Daniel and the 10 horns here are one and the same. And I did a breakdown early on this week called Daniel chapter 2. It was a Daniel 2 breakdown, and it mentions the 10 horns. It mentions the 10 horns by mentioning the 10 toes, for the 10 horns and 10 toes are one and the same. The 10 toes are the EU nations, and the 10 horns are basically NATO and the EU, and some of the NATO nations are EU nations. When it goes into the 4th Empire, the Roman Empire, alright, Daniel 2 4e through 41. And the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron. The 4th kingdom is the Roman Empire. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, remember each foot has 5 toes, so 5 toes times 5 toes per foot, and you got 2 feet. 5 times 2 is 10 toes in total. Part of clay, part of iron, because part of the EU nations are strong and part of the EU nations are weak. The stronger EU nations are the iron parts, and the weaker EU nations are the potter's clay part. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so shall the kingdom be partly strong and partly broken. That's Daniel 2:40 through 42. So the 10 horns and the 10 toes are one and the same. Go back to Revelation 17. Yep, continuing on. In verse, alright, I'm going to read verse 6. Revelation 17:6. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua, and when I saw her I wondered with great admiration. In verse 6 it tells you that the woman Babylon the Great, who is America, is drunk of the blood of the saints and with the martyrs of Yahushua. The saints are Israelites, and a few precepts you can get for that. For example, Psalms 55, Psalms 147, 19 through 20, Psalms 148, 13 through 14, and the whole chapter of Psalms 149. I'll get a few right now. Psalms 55. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The ones that have made a covenant with Yahweh Hashem Yahshua by sacrifice are the Israelites, therefore the saints are Israelites. Psalms 147, 19 through 20. He sheweth his word unto Iqab, his statutes and his judgments unto Yasharallah, unto Israel. He showed his statutes and judgments unto Israel. So the saints are Israelites. And then it continues to tell you that in Psalms 147:20, he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. Only Israel has known the statutes and judgments of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. You can get Psalms 148, 13 through 14. Clearly tells you who the saints are, the Israelites. Let them praise the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, for his name alone is excellent, his glory is above the earth and heaven. He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, Ban Yasharallah, sons of Israel, a people named unto him. Praise ye Yahweh. The saints are Israelites. Go back to Revelation 17:6. So I mentioned America is drunk of the blood of the saints and with the martyrs of Yahushua. Saints are Israelites, and we gave you those precepts. The martyrs of Yahushua are those who die honorably for this truth. And you had a lot of Israelites, who died. There were Israelites who died on the pit of the ship, during the transatlantic slave trade. There we go. You had Israelites who died on the pit of the cargo slave ship. Israelites who were eaten by sharks after jumping overboard. Some Israelites were put to death because they rebelled against this devil. You had a lot of Israelites that were hanged post-slavery. For example, you had the pick niggers where they would be eating, some sort of like park, and all the Edomite community would get together, even the police and the firefighters, and they would hang a nigger. And yeah, they would hang a nigger as they're eating, enjoying their meal. And then he mentions that John admired the woman. He wondered after with great admiration. John wondered with great love when he saw America, because she was very beautiful. Revelation 17:7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. So the angel told John, I'm going to tell you the mystery of the woman being America, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast is the Roman Empire, the 7 heads and 10 horns. We mentioned that before. Revelation 17:8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is Europe, and go into perdition, and go into destruction. And they that dwell in the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. The beast that was and is not are two beasts. The first beast is the Roman Empire 1.0. Roman 1.0 fell and came back into power as USA, European states, which later formed NATO and EU. EU was established by the Treaty of Rome. Revelation 17:9. And here is the man, and here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. The 7 heads equal 7 governments ruled by E. When different governments come together, you have a summit. A summit is the top of the mountain. These are all the heads of various governments that. So yeah, they're the various head of one that get this like they're the various heads of one government. This government E that will get together and choose one host government to have these summits. So they might have a summit of France and that. They might, like for example, they might have the King of France, like as in the President of France, and have the summit in, have the French King have the summit in France or something, or Germany Minor have the summit in Germany Minor, and so on. Because I mentioned the 7 heads before, all of which are Edomite. Revelation 17:10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. Shows you it's not talking about actual mountains, but governments, and referring to the leaders of these governments. The 5 that are fallen represents the Greeks, Spanish, Germania Minor, Germania Major, and the Gauls of the French. The 1 is equals Roman 1.0, because Apostle John was sent to the island of Patmos when he was around 90 years old. By the time John was sent after 70 AD. The time John was sent to the island of Patmos, that's what I'm trying to say. The time Apostle John was sent to the island of Patmos had to be after 70 AD, a bit of time after 70 AD. The other, which is not yet come, is equals Great Britain, because at one point Great Britain was a great power. Revelation 17:11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. The 8th is USA, as in America. The 8th is America, and is of the 7th, which is Great Britain. So the 8th is America, the 7th is Great Britain. So the 8th is USA and is of the 7th, Great Britain. Perdition means destruction. So, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. The 8th is America and is of the 7th. The 7th is Great Britain and goeth into perdition. Perdition means destruction. Revelation 17:12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. A day with the Most High is 1,000 years. Precept 2 Peter 2:3 and 8. And let's get that. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. There we go. Going back to Revelation 17. So yeah, this is part 1 to Revelation 17 breakdown. So it's okay, this video isn't called Revelation 17 breakdown. This video rather is called Revelation 17 breakdown part 1. This video is rather called Revelation 17 breakdown part 1. Slakia for earlier on. What I originally called this video title, because now it's Revelation 17 breakdown part 1. Shalom.